had also gone to many other sites where we put up wind measuring instruments and we established where we can get good wind plant. So we zeroed in on this very good site in Meru, and we carried out a visibility study that shows that it can support up to 400 megawatts of wind, but we want to do it in phases. So the first phase, we are actually targeting about 70 to 80 megawatts, which we'll be doing in the next 2 or so years.
How much will it cost to eventually set it up? Assuming, of course, that the plan is to fully exploit that 400 megawatts capacity, how much capital do you need to essentially get from breaking the shovel to getting the wind into the grid?
Okay, we are talking of 400 to bring us to about 600 million US, to develop the entire 400 megawatts.
And getting, at what price do you need to sell that power to the grid in order to break even?
For the wind, currently, what we call the feed-in tariff, that is what the government offers anybody who wants to come and develop wind here, is set at 10 US cents per kilowatt hour. So we think that if you develop that at about 10 US cents per kilowatt hour, you will break even and make some good returns.
The cost per kilowatt hour, especially on solar power, has been dropping exponentially over the last decade. Are we seeing the same thing happening in wind, or have we hit a technology barrier beyond which prices just really want to drop at the same rate as what we're seeing in solar?
Wind has been around for quite some time, and actually the first wind plant we developed in Kenya, though it was small, was in the 80s, and that was somewhere in Marsabit. And then sometimes in the early 90s, we had a small wind plant in Gong, which was giving us up to about 0.25 megawatts. But if you look at the development of wind world over, there's a lot of wind plants that have been developed, both in Europe, the Americas, Asia, everywhere. So the technology for wind is quite mature, and so the prices are sort of stabilized, and we're not seeing a lot of reduction in wind. It's not the same for solar. The solar technology is quite new, particularly in terms of big solar that goes into the grid. And so as more and more of that is developed, we are seeing that the prices are coming down. For example, when we carried out a visibility study here about 3 years ago, the study showed that for it to break even and for us to make some return, we needed about 16 US cents per kilowatt hour.
It's extremely high.
Quite high. And above the feed-in tariff of 12 US cents per kilowatt hour that the government is offering for on-grid solar. So what we are thinking therefore is, first of all, Kenyans need cheaper power, not expensive power. So even though solar potential is plenty in Kenya, we need to get to that point where the price is good so that we're not supplying Kenyans with very expensive power. And that is what has stopped solar from picking up very quickly. But I'm aware that a few people have signed some PPAs now with Kenya Power Lighting Company at that 12 US cents per kilowatt hour. But I believe that in the next 2 or so years, we should see the prices coming below the 10 US cents per kilowatt hour, which will make it a lot more attractive to develop.